AITA for kicking my BF and his daughter out because of how his daughter acts when she's on her period? My BF of 2 years has an 11 years old daughter that just started her first ever menstrual cycle 3 days ago. He has full custody of her, and they started making transitions to move in with me and my 8 years old son about 2 weeks ago. Up until this point, everything was going fairly well. The kids got along, and I thought Diane was a nice enough kid. Anyways, she walks out of her bedroom 3 days ago and tells me she thinks she started her period and was asking me the general questions on how to wear a pad, what she can/can't do, etc. All is well. I let her stay home from school after calling my BF at work to confirm plans and give him the rundown. She was crampy. I work from home, so it was no issue. All day she interrupted my business calls to talk about her period. It was annoying, but I just dealt with it because it's her first menstrual, so obviously there's going to be a lot of questions. This wasn't even the problem. It was what followed it. She was in a great mood all day. But as soon as my BF and my son got home from work, my home turned into a war zone. My son asked if she wanted to play with him and she screamed in his face, "I'm on my period," and literally slammed him out of her doorway. He went flying, hit the wall, bruised his shoulder, and hit his head off the door frame. My BF wanted to talk to her, and she starts crying. "I'm on my period. I don't want him near me." He gave her a pass for her behavior, which already pissed me off. The next day, we planned a beach day, like a week ago planned it. Diane starts flipping out to a point of a full tantrum, screaming at me and my BF, telling us that no, we would not still be going to the beach because she's on her period and she can't swim, and since she can't, none of us can, and she doesn't care if that bothers us. My BF cancels the trip, or tried. I told him I was still bringing my kid regardless. We get back home at 3 p.m. When I left, I had a pot of chili in the slow cooker for dinner. I find half the pot gone. Diane had been eating out of the slow cooker. My BF told me that Diane said the only thing she wanted was chili, and that since she was on her period, he had to let her. He listened to her. There wasn't enough to feed everyone now. We send the kids to bed at 8 p.m. She comes out at 9, telling her father that she needed ice cream or she was going to snap. He originally said no. She starts tweaking out, crying, screaming, wakes up my son. He ends up going and getting her the fucking ice cream instead of being a parent and snipping that shit in the bud. Then this morning, my BF tells her she can stay home from school again because she's still on her period. I tell him no, I'm working today, and she interrupted me all day on my last workday. She starts flipping out, screaming at me that I'm not doing anything to make her comfortable when that's what she needs right now. My BF sides with her. It's her first period. We need to learn to navigate it. I told him again that she was not staying here today. He gets angry with me and says I'm making his life harder than it has to be. His kid is still screaming at me. So I snapped and told them to pack all their shit and leave, and that I was fucking done. Said that I'm glad she started her period so soon into moving in so that I could get a proper assessment of how it would be full-time, and I would be damned. I put up with this bullshit every month. They both immediately calmed down. She starts crying, saying she was just trying to make me understand. He's telling me I'm being ridiculous. I stood firm, however, and told them to get out. They are now gone, and my house is peaceful. I don't want them back here. My BF has been blowing my phone up since, telling me this is just a bump in the road, but I have never been so disgusted by anyone in my entire life. AITA for not letting them return and telling him I'm done? I did speak to her about her aggression yesterday. I told her it wasn't okay to put her hands on people, to scream in my face, to demand we cater to her and break things. She says, I'm on my period. Nothing I do right now can be held against me because I have no control. Which is enough to prove to me that she does have control. She's using this as an excuse. Let us know if you think they were in the wrong. And here is the second story. AITA for not making my wife choose between me and her affair partner. As soon as I found out, I moved out and filed for divorce. Counseling is not on the table. An open relationship is out. I'm not interested in having anything to do with her again. She tried saying that if I asked, she would choose me.
Groß.
I don't want her. Some of our friends think I should have fought for our marriage. I offer to sleep with them or their wives to see how they feel about the situation then. No one has taken me up on my kind and Christian offer. I am paying my half of the lease on the apartment. There are 4 months left. In the meantime, I'm going to work and spending my time off at all-inclusive resorts. It's cheaper than getting an apartment for myself. Am I the a-hole for not trying to save our marriage? What do you think? Were they the a-hole? And here's the next story. AITA for insulting my husband after he asked for a paternity test and suggested I cheated? I, 25F, just had my first child with my husband, 29M, of 4 years. He is white and I am mixed race but very white passing. I was raised by my adoptive parents, however, I have reconnected with my biological paternal family. My biological mother was white, and I look a lot like her. My biological father, whom I call my AITA, is Inuit, and we look very little alike, but we are getting closer emotionally. My son looks so much like my AITA, and I cried when I saw him for the first time. He has darker skin than my husband and I, but he has my husband's eyes and nose. After he was born, my husband was cold and distant. He wouldn't hold our son. He wouldn't show me affection. Even when my AITA came over and I took a bunch of pictures of grandfather and grandson, my husband refused to connect with our son. He demanded a paternity test a few weeks ago. I was upset, but complied. He is the father, as I knew he was. I told him that I was a prime example of not looking like my biological father and that I felt he was an idiot for suggesting I was cheating. He shot back with, "Well, how do I know the man you bring around is actually your dad and not your affair partner?" Yes, he insinuated I lied about my AITA being my dad and that I was sleeping with him. I regret saying it because I had promised to leave it behind, but I said, "Well then say hello to Sarah for me." Sarah is the woman my husband had an affair with 2 years ago. He broke it off and we reconciled, but I feel like it was rich of him to accuse me of cheating when he was the one who cheated in the first place. He called me an asshole for bringing it up, and now we're not speaking and I've moved into the nursery. I'm considering divorce, but also thinking about my words, which were hurtful and uncalled for. AITA? Edit. A clarification and definition. AITA means dad/father in Inuktitut. Comment below what you think. And here is the final story. AITA for calling my parents selfish for having me, knowing they'd pass down a hereditary illness, and going LC after they hit it, putting my child at risk too? Edit. Most of you figured it out anyway. It is Huntington's. Update. I ended up telling my siblings. We met at my sister's house, and I just came out with it. I have Huntington's. It's hereditary. You should both get checked. My brother started panicking. He and his fiancée just started trying to get pregnant, and now he's terrified. He's furious with our parents and fully on my side. He confronted them right after, and now we're both going low contact. My sister was more shocked and distant, but she said she'll get tested. My parents are pissed that I told them without waiting for the right time, but I don't regret it. My siblings deserve the truth, and I wasn't going to let them live in ignorance like I did. I, 28F, recently found out I have a serious hereditary illness that's going to screw up my life, and I am so mad I can barely type this out. It's a degenerative illness, no cure, nothing. My body's just gonna slowly get worse. And the kicker? My parents have known this could happen my whole life and never said a damn word. This illness runs in my family. My dad's mom had it. His sister, my aunt, died from it a few years ago. I was living overseas when she passed, and my parents told me it was cancer. Cancer. They lied right to my face. It wasn't until I got diagnosed that they finally came clean and admitted she had the same illness I do. When I confronted them, my dad wouldn't even give me a straight answer. I asked if he had it too, and he dodged every single question, acting like I was overreacting. My mom, on the other hand, tried to justify it by saying they didn't want me living in fear. Are you kidding me? I could have been prepared. Instead, they chose to let me walk into this blind. And here's where it gets worse. I have a 2-year-old son. My child might have this, and they never told me I was at risk. I could have had him tested, made informed decisions, anything. But no, they took that from me, and now I live in constant fear for him too. Then my mom had the nerve to ask me if I would have rather not been born than deal with this. Can you believe that? She turned it around on me, Like I'm the monster for even thinking it. And you know what? Yes, I said it. Yes, I would rather not have been born than deal with this disease. They made a selfish choice, and now I'm paying for it. They knew the risks and did it anyway for themselves. They wanted kids, and now I'm stuck with this. I called them selfish, and I meant every word. Now, they're begging me not to tell my younger siblings. They don't know about this yet, haven't been tested, and my parents want to keep it that way. They're hoping they'll get lucky, but I'm not going to lie to them. I refuse to let them be blindsided like I was. They deserve to know the truth. I've gone low contact with my parents. I can't stand to even think about them right now. My mom keeps trying to guilt-trip me, saying they were just trying to protect me. Protect me from what? The truth? No, they weren't protecting me. They were protecting themselves from the guilt of knowing they passed this on, and now they want me to protect them too. But I won't. I love my son and my siblings too much to lie to them. AITA for going LC and refusing to keep their secret, even though they claim they were just trying to protect me? Like and follow for more. Like and follow for more.